So welcome everybody to the Solar Eclipse 2024 meeting for Lake Placid. We have a lot of team members on the call today. I'm going to introduce Michelle Clement, who is our Director of Marketing. We have Eileen Mowry, who's our Regional Manager, and we have Catherine Erickson, who is our Community Liaison. I'm not sure who else is on, but welcome every other rooster that's on the call. There's Kristen Lyons, I see, who is our sales coordinator. And I'm sorry, I'm going to miss Sydney is our communications coordinator. And I don't know who else is on here, but welcome everybody. And I'm going to hand it over to Michelle. And we're going to be time sensitive and be tight. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. I'll be monitoring them and we can pause throughout the presentation and answer any questions. And then at the end, we can just open it up. Michelle, you're on.
Thank you, Mary Jane, and thank you everybody for joining us this morning. And yes, this is exactly what Mary Jane said. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. We want this to be a conversation and informative as we move through this, so please don't be afraid to interrupt. And so we will get started. I'm going to begin. And Eileen, if you want to go to the next slide, please. With a kind of start with a high level overview of what to expect, some of the knowns that we have, some of the unknowns that we're planning around. And then Eileen will get into some specifics with regard to the plans that are already in place for Lake Placid and resources for business, etc. And so we'll begin with really talking about, again, how rare of an event this is. I know some of the faces on this call may have participated in some of our other public meetings with regard to the preparations for the eclipse on April 8th, but it really is a rare experience. To put it into perspective, it'll be 21 years before you'll be able to view a total solar eclipse again from the United States, and it'll be over 55 years before it's viewable again in New York State. Also, we may think back to 2017 in the eclipse that kind of skirted through the West Coast and the Western states where we were fortunate to experience a partial eclipse. If you look back to those states and the numbers of people that were attending, that's a lot of the guys that we're looking for preparations for this time. Also, to put it into perspective, yes, we experienced a partial eclipse. They've done the math equations, and looking back, this will be the first time the Adirondacks as a whole has ever experienced a total solar eclipse. So it really, truly is a rare experience, and it's something that we're looking to prepare for.
Michelle, I just want to pause for 1 second because I see Jim McKenna is on. Jim McKenna, our CEO of Roost, is also with us today. Good morning, Jim. Sorry, I overlooked you there. And now carry on.
Welcome, Jim. And so here are some time charts to just give it an idea. So a lot of these maps have been that you've seen out in different variations that shows the multiple lines for the path of totality. That center line, everyone in that gray bar that goes across a large portion of the Adirondacks in upstate New York, starts down in Buffalo and hits through Rochester and Syracuse, Watertown, then hits the Adirondacks. That close line is the duration of the closer you are to the center line, that dark gray line that goes through the middle, will indicate how long that you will be in full totality, meaning the moon will completely cover the sun. You'll be able to take your glasses off and view that total solar eclipse. The town of North Elba is at 3 minutes and 21 seconds, very close to that, right? One of the longer locations for viewing the eclipse, as well as Keene. And you can see the surrounding communities as well, and their duration of totality for that eclipse. As we talk a little bit farther in some of the next slides, we'll discuss how people typically are going to want to get to that longer duration. They're looking for kind of to maximize that experience. And again, please do not be afraid to jump in and interrupt at any time.
Does anybody have any questions so far? They want to just pop in? It's a little okay.
So there's a lot of thank you, MJ. There are lots of things where we're looking at what are the knowns and what are the unknowns. And so there are some things we can really anticipate and some things that we're already hearing. And so this is looking a little different. With regard to some of the things that we do know, shared experience, this is a shared experience for both residents and visitors. In particular, you know, we think about in the community of Lake Placid, we're hosting a lot of large events. You know, we're used to large events. What we don't think about is often those events may be catered to one audience or another. It might be a large community event. It might be one for athletes. We think of Ironman, we think of lacrosse, where there's one specific audience. And it might not attract as many residents. And so there's those two different sides. This truly is a shared experience for both residents and visitors. You know, one of the unknowns is day trippers. There's not ticket sales per se for this from the sun and the moon to anticipate how many people are going to be coming for the eclipse. And we really realize this is a very weather dependent. So we're really planning for both those knowns and those unknowns. You know, what we're looking to do is focus on, in addition to that, the time frame during the total solar eclipse, what activities are happening prior to, leading up to the eclipse, and following the eclipse, to extend that length of stay for those that are coming, and to minimize that impact of everyone starting their engines and leaving as soon as, you know, 3:30 in the afternoon has come and gone, and the eclipse is coming to an end. Locations, as I mentioned before, locations closest to that center line, we anticipate that we'll have the greatest influx. You know, that's where we talk about, we're already seeing high to almost full occupancy at many of the lodging properties throughout the region. And then throughout, as we prepare for the eclipse, sharing information will be key. And this is where, as we go through those next slides, we'll really share a variety of different ways for everyone on the call to share information with us so that we can make sure we have the most up-to-date and current information. And we'll continue to share information that we have so together we can develop the strongest plan to prepare for the total solar eclipse.
So Michelle, just to reiterate, what we do know is that people are coming because we've been tracking and speaking with our lodging partners. We don't know how many day trippers are going to come. We do know that'll be dependent upon the weather. Those are what we do know, right?
Yes.
All right.
All right. And we'll keep on going. This is where I'm talking about again about lodging properties. And I know that I did see some different names on the call, so please feel free to jump in. But for Sunday, April 7th and Monday, April 8th, you know, we're really looking at high to almost full capacity in many of our area lodging properties.
And then I think some of, you know, there are lodging properties on the call, so feel free to speak up. I know one of the lodging properties has Can-Am that weekend. And the other one said that Saturday night, they're looking at about 80%. So that's going to be a stronger than usual weekend, and then going into the Sunday, Monday, which is traditionally pretty quiet.
The Lake Placid Lodge is sold out for the 7th and 8th.
Great, thank you for sharing that.
So it's one thing to take into perspective for all businesses and the impact that has. This is again in April during, you know, so these numbers are April during spring break visitation numbers. So that's one thing we're continuing to plan on. All right. Next slide. And so as we prepare, one thing that we're also working on is really important in getting important information out about backcountry awareness. As we prepare for this, we have a joint press release going out later this week with the Adirondack Mountain Club that really focuses on being prepared and what the expectations are for our weather conditions in April, as well as really encouraging people to go to designated viewing areas within the communities to minimize that impact. And again, that's a lot of, we'll talk about those designated viewing areas and making sure those are squared away and ready to go to welcome both residents and visitors come April 8th. Thank you, Eileen. We'll start talking about some of those key considerations. And the key considerations that we're working on right now are viewing locations and events and having that information solid. Parking associated with those viewing areas. That's really the first step that we've been working on making sure was locked in place. That can then indicate some of our other needs, which would be safety and traffic control surrounding those key locations where there'll be a mass of people, making sure there's trash receptacles, restrooms. And then from there, then going on to supporting additional businesses, making sure there's services available, business support. We'll get into some toolkits that are available for businesses, and then continuing to communicate both with local businesses, our local residents, as well as those that'll be coming to the area, what to expect, where to find information, regular updates. And so all those pieces will be put in place. And so today we're really going to focus on sharing information that we have on those key viewing locations, as well as some of the business support that's available. And I'm going to hand it over to Eileen Mowry, who will talk very specifically about what's plans already in place.
Thank you, Michelle. So as Michelle mentioned, I'm going to move into some of the plans that we do have in place, primarily those viewing areas that we have locked in so far. So right now for the Lake Placid region, we have viewing areas designated at the Lake Placid Horse Show grounds, the North Elba Athletic Fields, the lacrosse fields, Marcy Field in Keene, and then the ORDA is going to be hosting events at the Olympic Speed Skating Oval here in town, out at Whiteface Mountain at their base lodge, and then a live feed of the entire solar eclipse for the time that it passes over the United States. So starting down south around 10 a.m. and then all the way up through, they'll be playing a live feed on the Jumbotron in the 1980 rink. So that'll be a great indoor option for folks as well. But in terms of outdoor viewing locations, the horse show grounds, the athletic fields, Marcy Field, those are all locations that have the parking associated with that big wide open space. Those are spaces that we know we're going to be able to have a view of the eclipse. And the ORDA events, the Olympic Speed Skating Oval is going to be a great viewing area right here in town with town parking available, lots of folks that can just walk to that location. Whiteface Mountain, again, that event's going to be at the base lodge. They are going to be closing the lifts down around 2 o'clock that day because it does get dark. And so, skiing safely becomes an issue and being up high becomes an issue, the rapid temperature change. So they're going to close the lifts down, but there will be an event and a party down at the base lodge. So those are currently our main viewing areas, kind of those community viewing locations that we're going to be encouraging people to head to. But then there are also various local businesses that are also planning on hosting something at their location, whether it be a lodging property that has a good view that's encouraging their guests to stay and view at their location, restaurants, other local businesses. So there's going to be a lot going on. And those local business locations, that's part of that communication that we're hoping to have with you and with the rest of the community, is starting to learn what your plans are. So we know where those viewing parties are happening, where the events are happening. And we'll get into this a little bit more, but also the events leading up to and after the eclipse itself. So being able to kind of slow that flow of traffic by having events and activities going on earlier in the day, early in the weekend, as folks start to come into town, and then in the hours after the eclipse to help slow that traffic of people leaving the area. Any questions at this time?
So Catherine asked, are the maps that show the path of totality available on the Eclipse website? And then the US and town by town map for the Adirondacks. So who wants to speak to that? Michelle?
I can drop some links into the chat that include both on the Eclipse website, the map that shows the Adirondacks with that path of totality. We've also been creating a Google map, an interactive map that shows how actually you can zoom in and around the region as we're putting pins on the locations that shows these designated viewing areas as well. That'll be, we're working on, I was gonna even go back and forth with the team this morning on some different embeds so we can zoom in and out based on what website people land on. That can help people quickly and easily find the location they're trying to get to, as well as then put it right into their GPS to get to the locations. So I'll drop both of those links into this chat now.
So building out that Eclipse 80K website is where we are going to be putting a lot of information in regards to designated viewing areas, events, etc. I think it's good to mention at this time that we've had a lot of, well, I shouldn't say a lot, we've had some feedback about concerns about promoting the Eclipse in April due to, the amount of staff that's available and businesses that are open. And for clarity, we're not promoting it. We're working to manage this event. We know people are coming, so we're working to direct them in the places that are prepared to be viewing areas and are safe. And then working with businesses to have them give us their information. Are they open? Do they have revised hours? Are they doing anything special? And we'll use that to market those businesses as we get closer to the event. Eileen, you good on this one?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that moves us pretty well into our next slide here. So business preparations. This is an example of the business survey that we have on that website. The link that Michelle dropped into the chat will get you there. So this is a survey that we're hoping local businesses will fill out for us, whether it be a paper survey. We've had a few events that we've had the paper surveys out. Or if you want to print one out, we will accept those by mail. You can drop them by the Visitors Bureau. We do also have a digital version of that survey as well for ease of just getting it done and submitted online. But this is where that communication piece really comes in for us. It allows us to, know what your hours are going to be. With it being that April time, we know that a lot of people's hours shift, whether they're open or not shifts from their normal schedule. So this will help us know who is going to be open, whether it's open for normal business hours or adjusted hours. If you're going to be closed entirely, that's a big help for us in knowing what amenities we have available to help direct people to. But this is also where you can tell us about what you have planned, what you plan to do for the Eclipse, whether it's, an event with live music, or maybe your lodging property that's offering a special package, or maybe, you're a restaurant and you're just doing some solar eclipse themed cocktails. Any of those things that are special or different, those are helpful for us to know. Or if it's just letting us know that you're going to be open for your regular hours and you're there and available, that's also great information for us to have. So it's information for us through that survey, but then it's also some tips, some ideas for preparing yourself and your business as well.
Thank you, Eileen. Just to add on a little bit there to emphasize, I think we're talking a lot. We keep saying April 8th, April 8th. And it's really important those days leading up to, as people start to arrive into the community. So we're really looking for information that dates back to that Thursday, April 4th coming in, and then through Tuesday, April 9th. So if you're, the same thing, whether it's at live music or any kind of activities that may be going on at your business, to share that information leading up to and then following the eclipse as well. It's not all about April 8th, even though we keep saying April 8th.
Yeah, I encourage lodging properties to come early, stay late, they're here, maybe one more night, nice, relaxing, who knows what April will be. It could be beautiful. Restaurants, retail stores, walk around the lake, relax.
Looking at 2017 and what we learned from communities out west that were positioned in similar in size and scale to what we are, and may have been like a 2-hour drive to their local interstate or major highway, what was typically a 2-hour drive following the eclipse could take up to like 10 hours. So we do also anticipate that was also August, so we're comparing it to April. It's more apples to oranges than anything, but just being prepared and encouraging people to stay longer to minimize and that impact on traffic, as well as a more positive experience for them.
And it's a great boost for businesses in April, right? I mean, it's kind of a bonus. It's nice to have it in a time. It's a bonus and also a concern, obviously, because it's during spring break and et cetera, but.
So this is just one of several resources that we have available. So again, going into that information to share, wanting to know if you're going to be open, if your hours will differ, those events, those music packages, specials. We do have also several other resources available to businesses or community members on that website. So it's a fairly complete toolkit. We have Eclipse ADK logos that are specific to the Adirondacks or specific to your community. We do have different ones for different regions that are available to businesses to use. We have planning worksheets like that business planning worksheet. We also have event planning worksheets. If you do know that you want to host an event and kind of want a resource to help you through that planning process. We have information on Adirondack branded solar eclipse glasses. I have been known to call them goggles, but I'm starting to learn they're glasses. Those branded glasses are available for businesses to purchase through a partnership with Roost and the Sky Center in Tupper Lake. Those glasses are available for businesses to purchase, and then Roost does have a stock of them that we will be using at those community locations that are more based around those community viewing areas. But they can be a great thing for your business to have, whether you're hosting a viewing event, whether you want to have them for your guests at a lodging property, or even for, pre-sale ahead of the event. Those are there. You can buy as few as 5 or, up to hundreds of them. So those are available as well. We have a robust FAQ section on that website as well. Certainly, if you don't find the answer to the question you're looking for there, we're always here to answer questions as best we can, or certainly help direct you to somebody that might be able to answer your question. And we are adding more resources regularly, whether it's planning materials. We have timing worksheets for how long the eclipse is going to be in a community, and from what time to what time. We even have a Spotify playlist to help you ramp up the party at your location or get the hype going. So there's lots there. We encourage you to check it out, whether you are a business or a community member, and reach out if you have any other questions. So these are those glasses that we were talking about. Again, those are available for purchase in small quantities, large quantities, and are a great asset for businesses, especially those lodging properties to have. Michelle, anything else to add on the glasses?
No, just that they are available. The links are there. And the community designated locations, we have a stock ready for those as well.
All right. So in terms of next steps, we hope that you will fill out that business survey, whether it be in paper or online, and confirm that we have your Eclipse information, whether it be hours and offerings or event information. All of the information you can get to us is helpful. So please, fill that out and confirm that we have your information. If you have questions, reach out to us. We are here as a resource. There's, certainly a lot of unknowns that we can't say for sure, but we're happy to share with you what we do know and help you answer those questions as best we can. If you need any information for planning, again, reach out and keep an eye on that toolkit as we are adding those resources regularly. In terms of contact, you are welcome to reach out to me. My email's there, my phone is there, or complete the online form and we'll get back to you there as well.
So in regards to traffic, at this point, we're not planning on any shuttle buses to get people in and out of Lake Placid. And, as far as coordinating with New York State Department of Transportation, we do have a call with first responders and the Essex local and state police. We're coordinating and I shouldn't say we're coordinating, we're sharing information. And from there, we have faith that those first responders and state police, law enforcement will do what they need to do to make sure that things go as smoothly as possible. In regards to traffic, we are not coordinating any traffic. I think there's, shuttles. I'm not sure, Orta, if there's, who did I see from Orta on here? Megan, I don't know, Megan, if you have any information on shuttles, once people in and out of Lake Placid, we did have a short conversation about potentially shuttling to the horse show grounds, but then we drop people off and then what? They're in the cold, they want to, so we think having them drive to the horse show grounds and adequate parking is probably the best. And again, who's driving the shuttles? It's April, etc. So that's where we're at with that. I don't know. Megan, do you have any input on shuttles that Order might be potentially?
Lauren from Whiteface is on the call, but she and I are conferring back and forth right now on whether there'll be shuttles available from the town to Whiteface. But since the Olympic Center's right in town, I have no plans on coordinating a shuttle to the oval, since people can walk from most of the hotel properties and homes and the parking lots that are around us, which includes the municipal lot, the street parking, and if the town will have the Lucy lot on West Valley Road available for overflow parking just over the hill on Cummings Road.
Is there any other questions? If everybody has, I think Michelle, Eileen, we can probably stop sharing the screen. Again, Eileen is the contact here at Roost for this, so if you have any questions, her information was on that last screen, and Eileen, you can also put it in the chat quick if you want, just so people can grab it there as well. Other
I
than
do
that,
just want to hop on here and remind everybody that having an enhanced listing gives you a customizable landing page where if you do have any promotions that you're looking to put on there for the specific event, we can absolutely do that. Just feel free to reach out to me. It's a wonderful resource to have available to you that you can customize these pages. So I just wanted to remind everybody that was something that we could do.
Crystal, why don't you put your contact in the chat as well? And that's great information. Thank you. Catherine, are you good?
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. If there's no questions, I think that's it. Michelle, Eileen, anything? Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for jumping on today.
Enjoy the snow.
My name's Gail. I'm on a phone call, so I'm not able to see much, but just a really quick question. Is anyone reaching out to the Adirondack Medical Center? I was at a meeting there last night, and I was just curious if there was a point of contact with any, people are injured or going out on the ice, or they wanted me to ask.
And we had early on created a solar eclipse task force that had representatives from the from Adirondack Health.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
But
you.
if those contacts, please don't be afraid to share our information. And if they have questions, we're open to, one thing we're really trying to do is kind of connect those pieces and share information. So don't be afraid to have them reach out as well if they have specific questions.
And we can reach out to Matt as well.
Yep.
Just make sure. And we are going to have another task force meeting just to bring full circle. So we'll make sure that they're on that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Megan, for offering to be another resource for answering questions.
You're welcome to put your contact in there, Megan, if you'd like. I don't know unless you have a specific Olympic Center or Whiteface person you want them to reach out to. Awesome. Okay,
Thank you very much.
enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you very much for joining us.
Everybody.